I just want to create a business around the life I want to live. And that was like my driving force. I'm like, I don't want to just lead a normal life. I think life is kind of ripe for the taking, and there's a lot you could do with the life. There's a lot of different ways you could go about living your life. And I think you have to create it for yourself though, or otherwise you are just going to be like everybody else.
It still hits, I don't miss it. Just go, 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 like a go, go flow. And I'm almost known, and I told you so. When I throw these flows like it's Rochambeau, and I ain't too close to the Joe Smoke goes. And I'm on my grind, that is all the time. I do not do breaks, that's right, I stay in dry. And look, I'm back with a little bit of that, a little more cash than it came in with. Ready, that cat is out that bag, but I still ask, the boy got skills. I don't need her, I don't need him, I don't need help with me, I got this. I can sing songs, I can spit raps, and I can do both, even do this, word.
This episode is brought to you by Sweat Tent, the pioneers of the portable wood-burning sauna. Did you know that using the sauna 3 to 4 times per week could reduce your risk of cardiovascular disease by up to 50% and make you 60% less likely to experience Alzheimer's disease? That's why I've been a big fan of the sauna for years. But having to go to a crowded gym to do it isn't ideal. And all the at-home options are bulky and expensive. That's why I only use the Sweat Tent for my sauna needs. It's the most storable and affordable wood-burning sauna on the market. It not only takes minutes to set up, but it can reach 200 degrees Fahrenheit in 30 minutes or less. So whether you're enjoying it yourself in your backyard, with friends, or in need of a reliable sauna on the go, Sweat Tent is your best choice for the most portable, storable, and enjoyable outdoor sauna experience. All On The Stacks listeners will receive $100 off when you use code OTS. Visit sweattent.com today to get $100 off your purchase with code OTS at checkout. Again, that's sweattent.com to get $100 off with code OTS. Sweat Tent, helping you fire up your home wellness routine. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On The Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn. What's up, podcast? It's your host, Bill Corcoran Jr. here in the Blue Door Studio, protected by Ritchie Security Solutions. Cory Panettieri, welcome to the On The Stacks podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, me too, man. I was looking forward to it. I'm glad we were able to connect.
Yeah, dude, it's I feel like we've known each other like just kind of sort of like through social media, yeah, but not
peripherally,
not IRL as the younger generation says.
Yeah.
But from what I understand, this is like your first like real podcast. Like
this is the first real deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. First in studio. Got a great space here, man. It's awesome. Yeah. Thanks again for having me.
How do you feel about this right now?
There's some nerves, but no, I think
you don't look nervous. You look ready to go, man.
No, I'm ready, and just getting to meet you. It's been great so far. You and your team. You got a good squad here, and everybody's real cool. So, yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah, man. We were just we were talking right before we started. I was kind of telling you a little bit of story of the building and the progress we made, and just in general, like we were just kind of talking about making progress, like starting a brand, a company, a business, whatever, and really just like going for it, like really just putting in the time and like the amount of hours and things that like you have to put in to like get something off the ground. And like I know you've been doing this since like 2017?
Yeah, 2017 started up. So it's been six years now, and yeah, sometimes you just kind of got to dive in. You don't know all the ins and outs of everything, but you have a general idea, and the only way to learn sometimes is to just go in head first and just kind of go for it.
Yeah, I was also saying before too, when a lot of people who don't know me from like when I started this, because you're like, hey, how long have you been doing this, and I'm like, 4 years really, but it's actually been 5. I didn't tell you that part of the story. So like the before I started the podcast, there was a On The Stacks thing. I won't get into the whole long story right now, but there was the brand. It's the brand On the Stack started like in 2019. Mm-hmm. So it's really been almost 5 years.
Yeah.
By the time this airs, it'll be basically like 5 years, but 4 years is just the show.
Yeah.
But I was saying, because you told me that you might be starting a podcast, which I'm putting you on the spot right now, so that everybody knows that like you might be starting a podcast, and this is like me holding you accountable, and yourself.
I like it.
Holding yourself,
I like it. It's the push I might need to get it going.
Yeah, it is. Hopefully this will get you all pumped up out of here, and you'll be recording an episode on your way home tonight, right?
For sure.
But I was saying, like, when I first started, like, you're like, it's like I don't have the best setup, this and that. I always tell everybody, like, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Like, obviously you want some quality. You don't want it to look like a piece of shit. Like, obviously, right? Yeah. But at the same time, you didn't know, because we haven't known each other that long. Like, you don't know, or of course you didn't remember because you don't know, like, where I first started. Right. And I pulled up my phone. I was like, dude, I gotta show you. Like, I'm like, dude, if you're worried about like how your setup or whatever looks like right now, I'm like, in a year's time, nobody will remember.
And just keep tweaking.
Nobody will remember that.
Yeah.
Like, maybe except like a few of like your really close friends or family that like actually like pay attention all the time. But man, I'm telling you, like, as you make progress, like, most people don't remember where you started. Like, people only, it's like a weird phenomenon. I don't know how to explain it, but I say it all the time. It's like people only recognize you for where you're at right now. They don't see the 1, 2, 5, or 10 years of hard work behind the scenes that you've done and that you've built. Yep. Like, again, for like me right now, like, I know your brand, Locals Only, right? I know it for like what it is right now. Right. Like, same thing. Like, unless I really dig like really far back, you don't see the evolution of
or the first rendition
and
how things change through the years and how you evolve. I think sometimes both you and I, and probably a lot of other business owners, you get caught up in the way things are being perceived. But in reality, if you're on social media, you're only remembering the last like 5 things you've seen anyway. That's right. You're not thinking back to, hey, remember the podcast studio that
looked like a piece of shit
Bill had 5 years ago.
Like, closet. Right. Yeah.
If anything, it's kind of like a pat on the back too. It's like, hey, like, look at us growing. It's becoming more legit day by day. So it's
literally like,
it's kind of cool.
Day by day. Like, it's funny. Like I said to you before, at first I was like, I used to be like embarrassed, and when I first started it, like, I didn't even have, like, Darren took a few pictures like of some of the first few guests that I had. Yeah. And I wouldn't even, I don't think I ever even shared them anywhere. Really? You know why? Because I was embarrassed of like how shitty the podcast studio looked. Right. There was no table. This table didn't exist, dude. It was like, you saw a few pictures I showed you, like, it was like, oh my God, like that's awful. But again, at the time it was just audio only, so people really wouldn't see it anyway. Right. But I was embarrassed by it. Yeah. Now I'm proud of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Because at the time it is like one of the only representations you have of that particular podcast. So that's what's being perceived by the world. But I think, especially in the podcast space, that's gravy at that point. I think as long as your meat and potatoes, which is the true content, and the actual podcast itself is good, and as long as the podcast is evolving, that's what really matters more than the visuals. Obviously, you want the visuals to be there. You want it to look professional, and people do appreciate that. But people are mostly tuning in to listen, not watch.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if, like I said, like, even if they are watching, like, again, like, I think people also just appreciate the evolution of anything.
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it's
I feel like they're part of the journey too.
Yeah,
and they are. I mean, they really are. Like, they might not be in here doing the day-to-day work, but if they're supporting you in the form of the podcast or the apparel business from day one, it's fun for them to be a part of the ride too. So I think you have a good point there.
Yeah, and I think more people should think that way. And I don't think I said it just now, but like, I went into it like so naive, like not knowing anything, and that was the best thing that could ever have happened to me. Because if anyone's looking to start any business, doesn't matter what it is, if you just go online and just do a ton of research of like what it's like to run it or how to figure it out, or anything like that, you're gonna go down a rabbit hole of like, and you're gonna find all these roadblocks and like, oh, I can't do that. Oh, that's gonna be too hard. And then you're gonna talk yourself out of it. Yep. Me, I was just like, I sat there one night and I was just like, okay, I think I'm gonna start a podcast. I went on Amazon. I bought this piece of equipment, which I still have. These are different mics. I had different ones back then. I just bought headphones, mics, and the recording device, and I just bought it. Came in 2 days, and then I just found a friend that was like, he's like, hey, do you need help getting started? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, okay, I'll come help you set it up. And I was like, okay, cool. I didn't even think about it.
Yeah,
How'd just go.
Yeah.
Because had I thought about it, I can laugh about this all the time because it's so true though.
Yeah.
You'll talk yourself out of it.
And I think the second prong to that is you might talk yourself into it, but it's like intellectual masturbation. You just do research and research and research, but you're never actually taking action to start anything.
Yeah.
It's like you're just putting off the inevitable.
Yes.
So it's not going to start if you do that. You need to take action at some point. It doesn't matter how much you know. It doesn't matter, the lighting, the camera. You could have everything, but if you don't click record, it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah, that's right. You have to like actually take the action and execute.
Yeah.
Like I'm a big, I do what I say type person. Like I also just, and I think because I'm on here too, I put myself on blast all the time, but like it holds me accountable.
Yeah.
I talk about goals, but it's also kind of like a manifesting thing.
Right.
And it's like everything that I think anything I've ever talked about on the show, like what we are going to do like next, I think I've came through like, with almost anything. I mean, have I done some things and maybe like did it, but then, stopped, but it's like, hey, maybe that wasn't working. I switched gears. Like I have no problem like admitting that,
right.
like most people won't even try. Most
right.
people won't even start. And it's
at least
like,
try.
Just start.
And like, yeah, it's just, I don't know. I think people get caught up in the, like you said, there's always going to be roadblocks, but you just have to start and persistency. Yeah. And
Persistency.
Being persistent and consistency outweighs knowledge tenfold.
Yeah.
Just keep doing
and talent.
Yes.
And talent. That's the other thing. Like, and I feel like I've said this like multiple times before, but it almost like, you don't have to be the best.
Right.
Like you don't even have to be that good.
Right.
Like you can actually be pretty bad at something, but if you're consistent with it, like people are going to pay attention.
Yeah. As I was doing part of my research for podcasting, I came across a stat. It was like 90% of podcasts don't go past episode 1, and of the 10% that do, never make it past episode 20. So if you do 21 podcasts, you're in the top percentile of podcasters. So, you might tell a friend or a family member and they're like, how are you going to stand out? How are you going to, there's millions of podcasts. Yeah, there's millions of podcasts that are dead. Yeah. So they're out there on the web somewhere.
You don't have to make it like 20 some weeks.
Right.
And then you're already like there.
Just do one a week for 4 months and you're there.
Yeah, that's it.
Like just keep doing it. Like I said, it's just a consistency thing. You just stay at it and you're going to outlast a lot of people who try to do the same thing that you did.
Yeah. Where do you think like you developed? Because like I feel like, based on what you just said, I'm like the same way. Like I feel like we have a lot of the same the same mindset, I feel like, right? Mm-hmm. It's like is there like something for you in your life, like growing up or whatever it was that you kind of sort of built that mindset, like that you have this like never quit attitude, persistency, consistency? Like, is there anything you can like think back to that, like, work ethic, like anything like that? Like what was it for you?
Yeah. I think it was a mix of things. I think the way you're raised, whether it be your parents or friends you're around, you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, all that stuff. And then sports, stuff like that. I think you do get some good habits from all of those things. So I think, yeah, between, some of the things that were instilled in me and from my parents and just, what's the phrase? Much more is caught than taught. I heard Andrew Schultz say that once. And I thought that really stuck with me. So meaning your parents' actions will teach you more than anything they'll ever tell you. So just seeing them, like I never heard my parents complain about work once, like ever. So it's just like, that's what you do. It's part of life. You have to earn a living and it's just the way things go. Like my mom was a school teacher and my dad had a concrete business. So, just 2 honest ways to make a living. And just seeing the example they set, kind of put that in. And yeah, you just steady at the wheel. You got to, I don't know, just buckle down and keep working.
I love it. And you're like a big, you were telling me like you're big into podcasts, like self-help books, all that, and you're kind of name dropping a little there, which is cool. I'm like really bad at remembering like quotes and stats and stuff, by the way. So like I'm glad you got all the stats and stuff down because like I kind of knew that podcast stat too.
Yeah.
But it's like you ask me to try to do it on the fly, forget it. I'd have to like actually like look it up. Like I know it, but I don't know it.
It's fresh. It doesn't stay there long, but it's
okay. So
it's
you were
front of mind.
Okay, so you were just looking this up.
Yeah,
like this was like very recent.
Yeah, and I kind of stumbled across that from a podcast. Like I said,
oh, really?
It wasn't necessarily in the research. Yeah, ever listen to Modern Wisdom, Chris
Oh
Williamson?
my God, yeah.
He's the man.
Dude, look at this. Like you're not even gonna believe this. Like literally, look at
Yeah, he's the man.
the text message. This was 2 hours ago.
Yeah, he's, I mean, just the best, like the best listen. Like I've been a Rogan guy for a long time. But Chris recently with Modern Wisdom he's been awesome. Like just
Dude is crushing it.
You take like 3 notes from every podcast at a minimum. And it's just, if it could implement just one of those a week into your life, it's game changer. And again, it's just holding yourself accountable. It's like you hear these things, you listen to this stuff, but if you don't take action on it, it doesn't mean anything. But these guys are doing it at a different level. So it's like, hey, like you have all this knowledge and you're able to take in all this stuff from guys that 15 years ago, it's unattainable to even have a conversation with them, and you could get them twice a week now. It's like no brainer. If you're not consuming that stuff and you own a business, I don't know.
Yeah. And it's like I always say, like you become what you consume.
Mm-hmm.
So if you like watch the shitty news and shitty television and shitty anything,
yep,
you're just gonna your brain's gonna go to shit.
Yeah, you gotta
to put it lightly.
Yeah, I was literally just having this conversation the other day with a friend. She was kind of griping about social media and how things are going and people just trying to go viral. I'm like, you have to audit what you're following. Because if you're following people trying to do that, you think that's what social media is. But, a hammer, you could tear down a house with a hammer, or you could build a house with a hammer. So it's like, it depends. Like social media could go one of two ways. It could be horrible and a bad vice for people, but it could also be the most useful tool in the next like 30 years for you. So it just kind of, it depends what you're consuming. Like you said, you are what you consume and what you could take from it.
Yeah. And I mean, like I literally, you could probably speak on this too, but this whole brand on the stacks, the podcast, we have, by the time this show comes out, we'll probably actually have 1 or 2 other shows already launched. But this whole brand was literally built on social media.
Yeah.
That's it. So think about that for a second. Like this whole thing,
right?
Everything that I've built with this brand and what we've done with it has purely been built on the organic reach of social media. Maybe a little bit of advertising,
right?
A little bit of paid advertising,
right.
Not much,
right?
But like literally just day in and day out social media, to the point that I had people be like, dude, you're like, what are you doing? Like, yo, that's like too much. Like, slow down, bro. And I'm like,
can't.
What?
Can't.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Cut. You're cut out.
Fall behind,
yeah.
man.
But like, I agree with you. Like social media, like it's a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
I look at it more of a blessing.
Same. And I think we're living in unique times. It's like all these opportunities are there for the taking, where, like you said, what you're doing, what I'm doing 20 years ago, it wasn't an option. It truly wasn't an option. And it's like to be able to start a brand right now. Number one, just living in America and having the ability to just start a brand tomorrow if you want it. You get your EIN number from the IR, whatever, and you're registered as a real business. You like just the ability to do that. And if you're not taking advantage of that, if you have any ambition beyond what like your normal life might look like, it's like, I don't know. It's silly to me to not take advantage of those things before us.
100%, man. Yeah. Like it's like you said, like the time that we're living in right now, it's like literally anything's possible. I tell everybody all the time, like I talk about like what I've done here, and it's not to brag. And I feel like sometimes, I'll share something and then like that, or I'll want to share something about like what I've done or what I've achieved. And I don't really celebrate my successes enough. I feel like I'm humble, but I'm also like, it's that borderline where I don't want to sound cocky, but at the same time, like I want to tell people what I built here, and like I'll tell anybody how I did it. Like there's no secret.
Right.
Like there's no secret. But at the same time, like I don't want to, post things that have people think like I'm bragging or like pat myself on the back. I'm not. Like I'm just, when I share some of the things that I share about this business and things that we're doing, things we're trying to do, numbers, things like that, I'm just doing it to like show people like what's possible.
Right. It's inspirational.
Yeah.
That's
how I look at it.
Right. I look at it as it's you're proud of what you built, number one, and you're just sharing it from that perspective. It's not to brag or boast.
Yeah.
And then you're hoping it could be inspiration to somebody else, because there's plenty of mouths to feed. You like what you're doing, what I'm doing, like, it doesn't matter. We're not going to take food from anybody's table.
Right.
Like the rising tide raises all ships.
Exactly.
You could work collaboratively and inspire other people to start the same exact thing you're doing, and it's not going to impact you at all. If anything, it might help.
It's going to help you.
Yeah.
That's the right attitude, man.
Yeah.
I knew I brought you on here for a reason. Because we don't even know each other.
Yeah, I know.
We're like best friends.
Yeah.
We just become best friends. Yeah.
Best friends.
Want to do karate in the garage?
Yeah.
But no, man, like it's literally, it's like so true. And like, you know, it's crazy. Like I think a lot of people would be surprised at like how well you could actually do if you just like embraced social media and just tried something new. Like you can monetize anything.
Literally, there's a market for anything.
Like anything.
Yeah.
Like people like
it
just
takes
don't,
work no matter what it is. Like,
yeah, it takes work.
Yeah.
But like you can like freaking make money off anything. Like,
yeah. If you have a true passion in anything, you could monetize it. And you could strike a balance between not making it a job and still loving your passion and getting paid for it. So it's like I said, it's just like all those opportunities are there. It's like, I don't know, people get sometimes stuck in their comfort zones and you don't want to stretch yourself a bit. You just kind of get a little complacent with life, and it's not for me, but I don't knock anybody who does it. It's completely fine. But you know, just raising the awareness, like having conversations like this sometimes is what people need to hear, just for a little kick in the ass to get going.
Absolutely.
If they were even considering it, you know?
Yeah. Whatever it is, just do it, man.
Yeah.
Like I say it all the time. I feel like I sound like a broken record sometimes, but like I get so fired up about it.
Yeah.
Like I literally like I get like so fired up, and like I get mad when I see people that like talk about like, oh, I want to start this company, I want to do that, or I want to try something different, or like I'm gonna, you know, just fucking do it.
Just do it. Just
like,
bootstrap it.
stop talking about it.
Yeah. Just bootstrap it and do it.
Yeah. And like,
sell enough to pay for the next cycle of stuff and keep going.
That's it. It's literally that
Repeat.
simple.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just, yeah. It just keep reinvesting it, you know, and
Wash, rinse, repeat.
that's it.
I know.
It's there's no secret. And I think a lot of people are always like, that's why like you were saying before about like doing that constant research. It's just like people are like looking for that secret.
Yeah.
And spoiler alert, there is none.
There's no secret, but like you could learn everything on YouTube. Like there are so many resources out there now that I've relied on for so many different facets of my life. Like it's not as simple as like a DIY project around the house. Like if you want to learn how to start a successful clothing business, you could learn it on YouTube. If you want to learn how to start a podcast, if you watch like 5-6 videos, like invest 2 hours of your time, you're going to have a good chunk of that carved out. Like, yeah, there's some fine workings that like I said, sometimes you just have to dive into it and you'll figure that stuff out as you go. But all the resources are there for the taking. It's just a matter of if you want them or not.
Yeah. And it's really not that hard also to figure things out on your own too. Like that's the other thing. I think a lot of people, like at least me, like I feel like I'm very resourceful. I'm able to, I always tell everybody like I can figure just about anything out. And if I can't, I'll find somebody that can.
Right.
And like it's not that hard. Like I just don't ever take no for an answer. I don't care what it is.
Right.
Like I'll find a way. No matter what it is, like if I'm determined to do something, I think that people like lack that too. Like they just want to like, you know, keep going. It's like, and then they just like hit a roadblock and they give up, you know? And like, I mean, I've hit a million roadblocks in this thing over the last million, man. I can't even tell you how many.
Right.
Like financially, just personally, everything, like everything you can possibly imagine that I've experienced up until this point, I've experienced it.
Yeah, 100%. And then like to that point, like it's great having that mindset of not taking no for an answer. And then also, like you said, having the humility to say, hey, I'm not good at this. I'm not the best at this, but I know somebody who is, and taking them in. And hey, yeah, it might cost a little money, but you're saving yourself hundreds and hundreds of potentially thousands of dollars in the long run. And you're helping somebody.
Yeah.
Like you're not maybe employing them, but at least maybe a one-time expense, you know, and you could learn from them. It's a balance of doing things yourself and being resourceful, and also knowing when to outsource some work.
Yeah, save yourself some time.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I think that's it. And even me personally, like I've struggled with it for a long time. Like I didn't have a bookkeeper, and I hate doing the finances stuff. Right? Like I could do it. I know, you know what I mean. Like I know it, but I don't keep up with it like I should. And now that this has grown to the point that it has, like now it's to the point where like I really can't. Not that I can't do it. It's just, it's become too much, the point where I had to hire a bookkeeper.
Right. And the other half of the equation is your time could be spent better somewhere else.
Yes.
So the 4 hours a few times a week that you might have to do bookkeeping, you plug those into marketing or whatever. And
or I go close another deal.
Yeah. Work on the business, not in the business.
Exactly.
Buy yourself some time.
Yeah. I think a lot of people struggle with that too.
Yeah. I do personally. Like,
I have too.
I'm manifesting this, saying all this, because like everything I do for the most part is by myself. I do have some help here and there. But for the most part, like I'm kind of talking this into existence for myself. Where I'm like, I need to, take somebody on and outsource some of the work myself, because time could be spent better.
And it's your baby though too. Like it's like you don't want to give up the reins. I get it, man. Like
we're
both tough. Like your company is has been around a bit longer than mine here, but like it's like you have it's your baby and you don't want to like let some of the things go. Like you still want, as much as like in the back of your mind, like, I shouldn't be doing this anymore. Like I should just pay this person like whatever it's probably really not even that much money,
Right.
Like, and I will say from my personal experience, again, I just hired a bookkeeper in the last few months, and once I found out, like I was like, oh man, that doesn't really cost that much.
Right.
And
it's
I was
worth
like,
its weight in gold.
And I was like, oh my God, like, why didn't I do this? I would have done it a long time ago, put it that way. And all this time, like, I was struggling. And my wife, if she's watching, she's going to laugh her ass off right now, because come tax time, it was a nightmare for me. It was a nightmare. And she had to help me. And then like, I would ask her to help me. And then I wouldn't even know what to tell her how to help me, because it was just too much.
Yeah. Just a mess or whatever.
It was just a mess.
Yeah.
It's just like, if you just get somebody that likes to do that and knows how to do it, it's like problem solved. And it's like, now I don't even worry about it at all.
Especially certain jobs like that. Like if they're not necessarily inputting into the business, like they don't have to care. Like my fear is like how you said, it's my baby. Like I don't think anybody's going to care about it as much as I do. And rightfully so. It's not theirs. But if you could create a culture where they care about it enough and treat it and like care about the growth of the business and the projection, then I think, you got to put in that work on the back end to build that culture and incentivize them in different ways. But yeah, like some of that back end stuff, like, just dump it off, man.
Yeah, it really, it's almost that easy. And like, and I laugh about it all the time. Cause again, like I just said, like, I'm the perfect example of like, sometimes I have to give up the reins of certain things. I mean, the financial stuff, I like hate it. I don't know why. I really hated it. I mean, some of the other stuff that I still do, like I actually enjoy doing.
Right. It doesn't feel like work.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like work, but I'm also to the point, like with the growth of the company, where like I need to start handing off some more of those, I'll say tasks, whatever they are. But it's actually like content stuff. It's part of like the whole process of, how this company operates with all the content we produce and the scheduling. And it's just, it's like 24/7 really, you know what I mean? But like, there's just so much to it. There's so many details. And, I just get caught up in doing the work because I know how to do it. I can do it. I don't want to say better than anybody, but I'm so efficient and I'm so fast at it, and I'm pretty good at it because, like I've done it all. I've done everything,
Right. Well-oiled machine at this point.
Yeah, and it's like training somebody to like do that. Oh, yeah, it's a struggle, man.
I know,
because it's like it's the same thing, like you said. It's also the struggle of like, well, no one's gonna care about it as much as you. I get that, but then it's just like, man, like I think about when I start having to document and think about and teaching somebody all the things that I'm doing, when I sit back and look at it, I'm like, wow, that's way more than I thought it is.
I know.
And it's like, holy shit. And like people ask me all the time, like, how do you do all this?
Yeah. But you just get so used to it. It just becomes your norm real fast.
Second nature.
And like, at least me, I don't like talking about it. I'm like idea creation, product fulfillment, like everything, the marketing, the sales, like the photography, the videography. It's like, there's a lot of moving parts that go into it, but I'm like, that's what I've been doing for 6 years. It's just like, it's just kind of my life.
Yeah. It's just like, I just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same thing to me. Everyone's like, yo, man, like, how do you do all that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. Yeah. But I will also say, and I got to give my team credit though, too. I do have, you met Darren, photographer, Eric Curtis, video. He does the video editing and everything. And Jimmy T. Martin, who's an executive producer of the show. But like, there's all these other people too, I'll say, like in the background that they're not on the show. So nobody really sees them.
Right.
They, most people who follow the show do know, because all these people are usually tagged in a lot of the content and things like that. And, sometimes you'll maybe see their faces, but I will also say that this ship can't, be afloat too without the team.
Right.
And again,
as you grow, you cannot outwork it as a one-man show. You literally have to take people on. So and to credit to you. I mean, building a good team is not easy. I would imagine. So
that's probably one of the hardest things.
Yeah.
It really is.
For sure.
It's finding people that, like you said, care enough.
Yeah.
right? And everybody around me, I think, cares more than enough.
Yeah.
Which I'm super grateful for.
Yeah.
So shout out to the team.
Right. Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a struggle to find people that know what they're doing, care enough, have the skill, and people that can just figure shit out.
Right.
I don't like people that if I give you something to do and you hit a roadblock and you come back to me and tell me hey, I have a problem. Don't come to me with a problem.
Right.
We're
trying to figure it out yourself.
Yeah.
And then absolutely, if you cannot get it,
last
we'll
resort.
figure it out together.
Right. Yes, exactly. But please
Take
attempt.
a little ownership.
Yeah. Go online, and I don't care how you find it. Just try 10 times before come back to me.
Right.
I just don't somebody hits a roadblock and then just comes I'm stuck. What do I do?
Yeah.
It's I usually say in my head, I don't know either. And I go on my phone, I go on Google, and I just freaking Google it. And I'm like, okay, well, here's how we do it.
Yeah. You could have done that.
It's really, anybody could do that.
Yeah.
And this isn't, I'm not yelling at anybody. I'm on my team here. You guys are good. But, just in the past, with other things, it's just people just, you just got to be resourceful. I think that's one of the biggest things, as an entrepreneur, to be able to just figure anything out. I always tell everybody, no matter what, no matter the circumstances, I just have this ability to just figure shit out all the time, no matter what.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like you said, it's a lot of it's at our fingertips. It's not that hard. You don't need to go consult with experts in person anymore. You could really figure a lot out.
Get a lot of
pretty
shit
quick.
for free.
Yeah,
And for free.
For free.
Yeah. So I want to talk about your brand a little bit. What prompted you to start the brand?
Yeah. So like you said, we started back in 2017, and I just I always kicked around the idea of starting an apparel company. But when I started it, I really wanted it to have a mission behind it. I think apparel companies are a dime a dozen to some extent. They're fairly easy to start. Barrier to entry isn't crazy high. So I that's why I really wanted to have a mission behind it and something I believed in, because I think you could build a community around that, of like-minded people. So that's why I called it Locals Only Project, with the idea of, spotlighting mom and pop shops, restaurants, stuff like that. People in town who are, just trying to make an honest living and took the chance, not working a 9 to 5 and, deserve some shine here and there. So, and just kind of seeing the way things are going economically. I think it was really highlighted, obviously, in COVID as well. You start seeing how reliant we are on the global supply chain. And it's because we've strayed so far away from some of our local connections. So I think seeing that really solidified me in what we were doing.
So you saw an opportunity.
Well, I did it before that, before COVID and before it was really exemplified. But then that really resonated with me and gave me reassurance that I was doing the right thing.
I'm on the right path here.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people relate to that now going forward, coming out of COVID and everything, where, if you could get some meat from a local farmer and exactly how they're raising their animals or whatever it was, if it's a garden, whatever it is, it's a little bit better than just blindly going to a grocery store and sometimes you're getting sold a bill of goods that aren't exactly what they're claimed to be. It's I was just having this conversation with eggs, of all things.
Eggs.
Not too long ago with my parents. And I'm like, just so you guys know, you're buying cage-free eggs and that's good. It's better than the cheap eggs. But just because it's cage-free doesn't mean they're free to roam, how chickens truly should live. Pasture raised is actually what you should be buying. And she's my mom's what are you talking about, pasture raised? I thought cage free was the way to go, organic, cage free, all this stuff. I'm they're so loose with their terms and what they have to abide by that you're not, you think you're doing the right thing, but you're not. And it's all just corporate BS. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's so this cage free is half-assed, is what you're saying?
It's half-assed. And 50% of the people buying them have no idea. And
I didn't know.
Right. And that's a stupid example. I get it. We're just talking about eggs. Yeah. But it's just a perfect example of, when you're on the global supply chain, you're working with those big corporations constantly, and you don't have any connection to what you're consuming and buying. I think if you could create a connection to some of those things, obviously it's not realistic all the time. Amazon has its place. Hey, if you need toothpaste, the guy down the street's not making toothpaste. Like if you
Do you know anybody that makes toothpaste?
No, like if you want to order a bulk order of Crest on Amazon, go for it. Like
Right.
I'm not saying don't ever use Amazon or don't go to Target.
Yeah, or don't make your own toothpaste.
But I think there's a time and place for everything, and if you could support local businesses, do so. I think there's a big benefit of that, and I think it's twofold. Not only are you scratching the back of people in your local economy, and keeping dollars, in your general area, I think there's a mental aspect of it too that a lot of people are missing now with connection. Like talking about how we were talking so heavily about social media earlier, I think that's not real connection. I think if you could, even if it's the post office, like I use this as an example sometimes, like the 2 people I see at the post office, like I'm there almost every day, and like it's an enjoyable experience for me, where otherwise, like for some people, it's a monotonous like task that you have to do. But if you could go in there and treat everybody with a nice level of respect and create a little, just like surface level relationship with the people that you're interacting with in your local community, like it feels good when you leave. It's like, oh yeah, I saw Mike today. Like he was telling me about how his wife, whatever, burnt the turkey and this and that. And like, it'll always circle back around, especially in small towns. It's like, oh yeah, like I was in there the other day. Mike was telling me this, whatever it is. I think there's a benefit to be had there in those small little connections, but human interactions, in a day of social media. So again, yeah, just kind of creating a relationship to some of the goods you're taking in and consuming. I think there's a twofold benefit there. So that's kind of the long-winded answer to why I started it. But I saw, kind of the way things were going. Didn't necessarily love it in every capacity.
So you built it yourself?
Built it myself. I mean, it's not. I'm not necessarily selling anything outside of apparel. But at least the message is there and it's getting through, and it's a little reminder. Hey, you see somebody maybe walking down the street and they have a local hat on or a local sweatshirt. It's like when Saturday rolls around, it's like, oh, you know what? Maybe let's go to the local diner instead of Chipotle for a burrito. Simple as that. Little stuff like that.
Yeah. I was reading on your website, and I'm just going to read it right off there so I don't screw it up. Under your, meet the makers, there's one sentence that I really like, by the way, and it says, "We all innately strive to be part of a tribe, something larger than ourselves." And that statement is so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, because it resonates with me, because part of, like, I feel like what I'm doing here and why I'm doing what I do here, it's got that same concept built into my brand. Mm-hmm. I took something that I felt disconnected from, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I built my own community that essentially is something that's bigger than myself. I'm surrounding myself with people like you, week in and week out, that, great people, great missions, doing good things. We all, kind of, and do I have people on here that, we have no similarities? Yeah, all the time. Right. But at the same time, there's always something, and that we can connect on. Right.
There's always a thread that weaves everybody together.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like what I'm building here, like what I like about it is this whole thing is it's so much bigger than me. Mm-hmm. And it's kind of been that way even for a long time, but for the short time, the 4 or 5 years that, this thing has been in existence. But essentially, like at the end of the day, it's like I'm building something that's much larger than just me. And I think that's like what's so cool about it. And I picked up on that with you and your brand. And I love that. I love that mentality because, not many people think like that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just ties back to that point. It's like the way things are going, like it's very easy to get isolated. Like you truly do not have to leave your house anymore. Like you could get groceries delivered there. You could hop on your video game at night, whatever it is. And you might chat with your buddies on there or whatever. But like you truly do not need any human interaction. Like you're working from home and then you eat and you hop on your video game and like that's it. That's your life. But like you need to get out in the world. You need to have human interactions. Like we are truly programmed for it. That's where I'm saying like you want to be part of a tribe. Like you need to like having a sense of community isn't just a nice thing to say. It's real.
You need it. It's a necessity. It's actually,
it. Yeah. And when you have it, it feels really good.
It does.
So that's why like I started doing those like roundup events every summer, and it's like I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. It's really just a big party, but it's a big party of like-minded people. So like, even just like, you know, like you go out at night, you might stop for a drink at a bar or whatever, and like somebody has a local hat on or a local sweatshirt or whatever, and it's like, hey man, like let me buy you a drink or whatever it is. Like, it's simple as that. So like, even if that's like the only thing that happens from this, it is bringing people together that otherwise you're just a face at a bar and like we have no connection. It's like, oh, like, do you know Cory? How do you know? Like, luckily I'm like small enough now where like most people who are wearing it have some sort of relationship with me. So it's like, oh, how do you know them? Or like, how you know, like these guys, whatever. But like just bringing people together in any capacity has been super cool, a super cool part of it that I wasn't necessarily expecting at first. And then as that community builds, it just kind of happened organically. But like that, I was thinking about it the other day. I'm like, we're not like, it's not a huge brand or anything, like whatever, like 8,000 followers on Instagram. Like, I know there's tons of other apparel businesses out there, 50,000, 100,000, but like I would take 8,000 loyal fans who like are like-minded and truly believe in the mission over 50,000 who just like the t-shirt. Like, 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So like, I'll take the slow growth and keep grinding.
Yeah.
And like keep,
it means more.
Right. Like keep the message central rather than like growing at an astronomical pace for like just like quick trendy shit.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I'll make a parallel, like the parallel like with podcasting versus traditional media, whether it's radio or TV, right? When people are consuming radio, if anyone's even consuming radio nowadays, you're just listening to it like in the background. Versus podcasting,
White noise.
You're paying attention.
Yep.
Like when you're listening to a podcast, like you're there to learn. And guess what? Even when those ads come on, like sometimes you're probably not even skipping through them. But if you are, like the thing is, like, you know, studies have shown, and I forget the stat, but you're way more likely to buy if you hear an ad on a podcast versus on the radio.
Oh God, yeah.
Right? Like it's just like I said, I'm trying to make the parallel here is like, you know, with, like you said, like with your followers and your customers, it's the same thing. It's like the base of followers, listeners, viewers, or whatever it is that this podcast has, or any podcast for that matter. It's the loyalty and the following of the loyalty of these people is like 20 times greater than it is of like regular traditional media broadcast in any sense.
100%.
And like the same thing with you. Like your customers are probably more likely to spend like, you know, double or triple the amount of money with you if you launch a new product just because they like you, they believe in you, and they believe in your brand, they want to support you.
Yeah.
Versus the big guy online that's like, you know, they have no connection to.
Right.
But it's like because they have that connection to you and like you have that following, you built the brand and you have that, you know, that culture of you built something that's bigger than yourself. People want to be part of that.
Yeah.
People
100%.
like really, really want to be part of that, and people pay money for that.
Yeah. I think building that rapport, and I think in podcasts, it probably happens even quicker because like you can't hide behind anything. Like if you're doing hour-long podcasts once, twice a week, whatever it is, like people get to know you real fast. Like whether they're here or not, like you're a part of the conversation. You're just not chiming in. You're just the quiet one in the conversation. So like you really get to know people. And you know, if you don't vibe with the person, that's fine. You just stop listening. But if you do, and you are one of those loyal fans or consumers, like you believe in them and you truly like what they're doing. So it's like, yeah, there's no veil anymore. There used to be a veil behind in front of everything.
Yeah,
I
now
think the veil's been
so
lifted.
so much transparency.
Yeah, which is nice. It's really cool. And that's one of the things, like even when I started, like literally right from the get-go, and I don't know why, but like, you know, you see people complain every once in a while. It's like, you think people are going to say like, oh, what an idiot. And like maybe behind closed doors, but like outwardly, I've like the support from day one has been like the coolest thing ever. Like I was blown away at the level of support from day one. Like I'm not saying it was like the sales representative, but like just like friends supporting, family, complete strangers, just like, hey man, I love what you're doing. Like coming up to me, like, I don't know. I'm like, it was the coolest thing ever. Like I literally, I'm sure there was haters somewhere, but I didn't feel a single one for a long time. And like I've heard comments now, it's been 6 years, but like overwhelmingly, like 99 to 1, it's been like crazy. So it's cool, man. I think people could get behind anybody just going after a little dream.
Yeah, absolutely. And same, and like, also too, like going like with talking about like the loyalty and just like the integration and the transparency. That's what was the word I was trying to look for here too, is like, it's so much like doing like the things that like, we're doing, I'll say like right now, like in social media and new media, podcasting, like all that, and building this, our audience is like, you have an audience too, whether you call them an audience or not, like you have an audience / customers and like I have an audience, right? And what I really like, what I like so much about like, this is like all the sponsors of this show. I'm a genuine user, I think, of almost every single any ad that you hear on this show, with the exception of maybe one. Like I'm a customer of all of them.
Right.
And whether it was before the show or after the show, it doesn't matter. The point is like that. Like I genuinely use the products, and I won't really talk about things if I don't like them.
Yeah.
Like, 'cause I have to be genuine, and I think people will be able to see right through. Like I'm a horrible actor, by the way, Corey. I'm like a really bad actor.
You and me both.
Yeah. Like I'm like I can't rehearse and say lines. I'm like I just have to do it like on kind of like this, like in a conversation, and I just have to talk and do it, and hopefully it comes out. Like I'm coherent, right?
Yeah.
But the point is like. Today was a perfect example. Now, again, this episode will be a little bit delayed by the time it comes out, but today I had a call with one of my sponsors, Sweat Tent, at home, portable sauna. By the way, I feel like you and your anyone that is a follower of yours would probably love this thing. You can use code OTS, you'll get $100 off, by the way.
I saw it. It does look really cool.
It is really cool.
I was tempted.
Dude, it's so cool.
I was doing some digging.
Yeah. So very legit. Very legit. I've had it up in my backyard, and I'll get to the point of the story in a second. But I've had it up in my backyard for, it'll probably be like 8 months or so.
How do you heat it?
It's a wood burning stove.
Does it just get piped in?
Yeah, there's like actually a metal stove that goes in the tent.
Oh, it's in.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there's piping that goes up.
Yeah.
And you can take the piping down. So like there's a covering, like it just pops up. There's a different there's a hatch on top of the roof.
Right.
And there's one hatch with a center hole cut out, reinforced by like some steel or whatever.
Yeah.
That it goes through, and then when you're not using it, if you could take the piping down, they all just connect. They're pieces like this big. They all connect, and you can just take them apart simply.
Sweet.
And then you can just put the like original flap back on to cover it, so nothing gets in it.
Yeah.
But the point of me bringing them up was, like, I literally just had a call with them today, and what I love about it so much, unlike I say like traditional media or whatever, like the people that are on air aren't talking to the business owners of the people that are putting the ads on that show. I'm doing that. Like I literally like talked to one of the partners today.
That's awesome.
And like I know what's coming up with them. I know the new stuff they're launching. Hopefully by the time this episode comes out, hopefully they'll be on the site live. So hopefully I'm not any spoilers here. But they're coming out with a couple different color tents. Color similar to your hoodie there, by the way, I think. But yeah, they're launching some new colors in 2024, early 2024, and they'll be up for sale. But it's like I had a conversation with them, and it's just like, hey, like, what can I do more for you and better for you? And we both asked each other that.
Right.
It's like that doesn't really happen in traditional type stuff, and it's like the integration that like I have, like, and again, they're just like one example of many. But it's like we just have like this integration that like we're like in it to build each other. Right. And it's not just an exchange of money.
Yeah, it's a true partnership.
It's a true partnership.
Yeah.
And that's like what's so unique about it. And I think that's why it works so well.
Yeah.
Because people know that it's genuine. People know it's real. Like I use the damn thing.
Right.
It's up in my backyard.
That's what I was going to say. Like building trust with your audience is everything. Like, so like you said, like you're a user of 99% of the things that you're going to run an ad for. And as soon as you stop doing that, like people see right through that bullshit.
Oh yeah.
Like it's like, okay, clearly you just got a nice payday. And like, obviously like maybe the day will come, like you can't use
at some
everything.
point. Right. Exactly. Yeah. I can't just spend money for the sake of getting a sponsor. Right. Like I'll go out of business.
But at the very least, like if you're not using it on a daily basis, like maybe it's not the best fit for you, but at least it's something you believe in, or you believe in the company, whatever it is.
Exactly.
Like the fit's got to be right.
Yep.
And as soon as you just start taking paychecks, I think people see
Game
that
over.
and it's like, maybe they don't care so much for a podcast ad. It's like some people are like, hey, get yours. I get it. But it's like your word holds so much more weight if you never do it. If you only truly promote things that you believe in, it's like, damn, I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah.
Like he vetted it. He's been doing it for 6 months or whatever. And it's like, the sauna thing is a perfect example.
It is.
It would be nice to have.
Yeah. And like the, I mean, I won't even go down the road of all like the benefits, like, mental and physical health.
Yeah,
I mean, just go to sweattent.com. You can, read a lot, about it yourself. But like, dude, like you just going in that one time, like, I don't know if you're like a sauna guy. Like I've always kind of been a sauna guy.
Yeah.
But, on and off,
dabble.
But like, it's just like you go in that thing one time and you come out and you're like, that was amazing.
You feel like immediately better.
Immediately.
Yeah.
Immediately.
I know.
Like it's crazy.
I've never done the whole cold tub sauna thing.
Oh, you got to.
And I'm like,
you know what?
That would probably, would be a game changer. I would have both in the backyard.
It is. It is.
You did it?
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it brutal? Like, especially in the winter.
No.
I was thinking about it
Well,
the
I
other
haven't
day.
done it in the winter yet.
Oh God, I don't think I could get my ass in there.
Yeah.
That's not for me.
Yeah. But I'll tell you, like, again, you do it like right after the sauna, and it's actually like it's like nothing.
Yeah, it probably feels all right.
Because you're
doing
hot.
the contrast. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like it's these things like you do and you experience all these things, and like this stuff, like this shit literally changes your life.
Yeah. 100%.
Like all this stuff, like it's like I live in a whole different world now than I did like just like a year ago.
Yeah, just little
It's
life
wild.
hacks.
It's wild.
Start listening to Andrew Huberman and
I love Andrew Huberman.
yeah. Hey, he's doing all the research. I'll take notes and I'll start implementing.
Right?
Like sunlight first thing in the morning, all this stuff. Like, yeah, man, it really
These people are
really
right.
works.
It
Yeah.
does.
Like,
Like,
they're
it's-
legit.
Yeah. Like they're not making it up.
Right. It's
Yeah.
not hokey. Like this guy's a friggin' genius.
Yeah.
And like you should probably and again, it's just like what you do when nobody's watching it. It's like whether it's for yourself or for other people or whatever it is, it's like you got to hold yourself to a certain standard, and everybody reaps the benefit. Like if you're willing to do some of that stuff and like put you in a better headspace and increase your dopamine, because you were willing to do the cold tub first thing in the morning, like your wife feels the benefits, your friends, your family feels the benefits of that. So it's like it starts out as a selfish act, and then everybody else kind of
trickle down
is
yeah.
nice.
Yeah, it really is, man. And like, but again, like back to like the whole like authenticity thing, man. Like I can't tell you how many times, like, dude, I get offered stuff like all the time through social media, all the time.
Yeah, I
like,
bet.
hey, Bill, you want a free product? And most times I'll still say yeah, even if I'm unsure.
it.
I'll still say yeah, and I'll take it. But I can't tell you how many products that I've gotten. I've never talked about them.
Right.
A lot.
Yeah.
Like I still have something sitting on my shelf. It's been sitting there, and I'm surprised like they didn't say, hey, Bill, like what'd you think of it? Like, because I literally didn't even open the box yet. It's still sitting there.
Right.
You know what I mean? And some of the things are, might not be that expensive, but like, I get sent stuff like people as, hey, Bill, like you want to try this, like, and it's just like, sure, like I'll try it, but
Right.
it doesn't mean I'm gonna talk about it or promote it. And it's like, but also like I'm also now to the point too, like everything. I don't want to sound like like it's just all about the money, because it's not, right? It's not. But at the same time, like what I've built, the community and the following, like I'm not gonna just talk about shit for free all the time just because you sent me a free $50 product, and that's like I really love you,
Right.
That's like I really like you,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But like
that's not how it works.
or I have to really like the product, like I'm, you know what I mean? Like it's not
Right.
worth.
If it comes up organically in
Then great.
conversation,
Yep.
sure.
Exactly, but I'm not going to go out of my way if somebody just sent me, $50 or even a couple $100,
Right.
unless there's something more that like I have to like love it, and unless it's something I'm working with them on, like it's not worth my time to invest to go out of my way to talk about it.
Not
like,
worth your time, and it's not worth like losing trust with your
Yeah, it's
community
the
that you built.
reputation,
Like
man.
it takes years and years and years
Yeah.
and to build it, and it doesn't take much to collapse it. So
yeah,
you gotta. It's a fine line there, like you
Yeah.
said. You gotta.
reputation is it's an important thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I think people don't realize like sometimes like not that I take it for granted, but I like look at what I've done like over the last like 12 years of my life, like professionally, and I'll say like the reputation that I built, like just in general in the community. Just put this business aside for a second, but just like a lot of things that I've just done over the years, and all the people I met, and just all the I pride myself on like coming through and like just not letting people down, and
Yeah, just being reliable.
yeah, I'm just like, yeah, I feel like I'm reliable as fuck. Like I'm so proud of that, man. Like, and I know it sounds like I'm like bragging about myself here, but like I don't say these things enough, and it's just like when I take a step back and realize, but I think that's why I got where I am.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, your character, like we were talking about it earlier. Like maybe, you might get here eventually, but if you didn't do that character building or have that character for the past 10 years, your 5-year business now is a 7-year business to get to the same point.
Right.
So it's like everything happens quicker. It compounds upon itself.
It does. And it's the same concept of like going to the gym, like working out,
Yep.
right? It's like, you go and you look in the mirror, and I know this may sound cliche, and everybody probably has heard this. You go to the gym one time, you look yourself in the mirror, and you're like, this nothing happened today.
Nothing.
You look at day 2, day 3, and you're like, you might feel like a little better, and you're like, I feel a little bit, right?
Yeah.
But like until like, a couple months in, then you're looking in the mirror and you're like, oh shit, now I see results.
Yeah. Or somebody, better yet, somebody tells you.
Yeah, somebody else is like, yeah, man, like you've been working out.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, hey man, like you look good. Like, and then it's like, all right, this is working,
Yeah.
But like
it'd be like the same thing as like a friend being like, hey man, just thanks for being there all the time.
Yeah.
Like you get that positive reinforcement
Right.
from an external source sometimes, and it's just like, oh shit, it is worth it or working or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
And like I think sometimes also too, just taking the time to go out of your way just to like give somebody a compliment, like it's like not that hard.
Yeah.
Like even like you said about the post office, that's a perfect example.
Yeah.
Like you probably say hi and talk to, you probably have a relationship with like more than just a few people, just from being there all the time, right? It's like you go in there and it's like they probably enjoy seeing you and vice versa, because like you're actually like you're not just like hi, bye, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's just like you're actually having like a real conversation.
Yeah, like
that's important.
Right. Just like little stuff like that. Like I'm not throwing my shit up on the counter and just waiting for them, and I'll just hit my card and go. Like, talk to them. I'm stuck there anyway, like waiting for
make the best of it.
Everything to get rung up. It's like might as well bullshit a little bit. And
yeah.
Like, but like it's like little mood boosters.
Yeah. It's it all makes a difference, and I think a lot of people like overlook that stuff in just like our daily lives. We're all busy. Everybody's busy.
Yeah.
I hate the word busy, even though I just said it.
Everybody's
Right?
got shit going on.
Yeah, everybody's got some, and it's just like it's really just a matter of priorities. And it's like if it matters, you'll find the time.
Yeah,
And I say that
100%.
too, and it's like, sorry if I ever told somebody I was busy. It probably just means I'm just not interested. But maybe at that time, maybe
Right.
I wasn't interested at that time.
Yeah, sometimes you got to prioritize
Yeah.
things for yourself, and you can't be as reliable as you normally are, but you just let people know, and it is what it is. Sometimes you come back around.
It always does.
Yeah.
It always does.
On the Stacks will be back in a flash after a word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by Elevation Wellness, NEPA's premier wellness center located on Mundy Street in Wilkes-Barre. From pro athletes to busy parents, Elevation Wellness is leading the conversation when it comes to bettering your health through integrative medicine. Founded by NEPA native Louis Helmecke, Elevation Wellness offers physician-formulated and guided treatments that are administered by registered nurses. To learn more about how you can experience the benefits of IV vitamin therapy, multivitamin booster shots, non-invasive aesthetics, or peptide, NAD, red light, and compression therapy, visit elevation-wellness.com or follow them on Instagram at Elevation Wellness NEPA. All On the Stacks listeners will receive 10% off their first purchase with code STACKS at checkout. Call 570-762-9400 or visit elevation-wellness.com to book your appointment today. Elevation Wellness, taking your health to new heights.
A lot of times when people are in car accidents, kind of forget what we should do. First and foremost, call 911. Then, get out of your car before moving it and take pictures. It's so important to capture what the cars look like immediately following the accident. Finally, call your insurance carrier and make a claim.
To learn more, visit Anzalone Law offices online at anzalonelaw.com.
And now we're back on the Stacks.
So like with your brand, like what's new, or like what are you looking to do that might be new, like in 2024, or like what's going on?
Podcast.
But that's right. Yeah, podcast. That's right.
No,
I gave you the idea of the outdoors one. So everybody that's listening, that's a follower, fan, whatever of Cory's, talk them into an outdoors podcast. I won't be mad if you don't, but it would be cool to see like an outdoors type.
Yeah, at the bare
I
minimum.
mean, it fits. I feel like it fits.
Yeah, it definitely fits. There will be definitely
At least a lot of outdoors talk.
yes, there will be plenty of that for sure.
Okay.
I think it's inevitable.
I'm forcing it on you pretty much.
no, it's gonna happen. It was happening either way. Don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think that it'll be a good change up for things, and I'm glad you put it out in the universe. Hold myself accountable now to it. So that's happening. But yeah, I think we're gonna just keep trying to evolve. Some of the products keep coming out with some fresh new stuff that we might not have done in the past. And then the other prong of it, like I mentioned, like we've done the summer roundup for the last 3 years now.
Is this at Montage?
It's at Montage, yeah. And we did a fall fest this year for the first time as like a secondary event outside of the roundup. So I think we're gonna look to do some more events and community building stuff like that. Even something more geared towards vendors to really like practice what we're preaching in terms of getting local businesses there and highlighting their products and giving people a chance to try some of their stuff. Check out some stuff that they might not be aware of that are, it's kind of right in your backyard. You just don't know about it. Stuff like that. More community building events and keep growing the merch itself too.
There's a lot, and I feel like a lot of people don't realize like there's a lot of cool people and a lot of cool shit in this area.
Yep.
And
you just don't know about them.
Yeah, you just don't know about it. Mm-hmm. It's like until you start discovering people, like, again, like I've known about you for a little bit of time now, but didn't know you, didn't really know much, right? It's just like I see the brand, like I was always drawn to the brand. I'm a big branding guy. I feel like a lot of people that follow me know that about me. And when I see a brand that like has their shit together and it's a nice brand, it's a good brand, it's like I like the logo, I like the look, I like the mission, I like the vibe of it. It's like I just know, like, yo, that's a good brand.
Yeah.
Like I immediately when I first came across, I was like, yo, that's a cool brand.
Right.
You just know.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that just don't know. Like.
Right. I know, and we were kind of talking about that on the phone even, and I think it is so important because you only get 1 or 2 chances to make an impression on people, and if your branding isn't good up front. And I get frustrated like this, and I'm not ragging anybody here because like literally the company mission you highlighted earlier is to support these people. But if you're a local business and you don't have a website in 2023, I'm looking at the camera.
Go ahead. Go ahead. You said you weren't going to do this.
I said I wasn't going to do this.
You have to do it.
Get yourself a website and get a graphic artist to get some assets together for you. Like get your menus online if you're a restaurant. Please, we're begging you.
Yes, please put your goddamn menu. Now I'm looking and get your social media better, people. Like if you need some help, I can probably help you. There's a lot of people that can help you.
Yeah.
Like these, some of these places, like, I empathize with, them, like,
especially like you've been in business for 25 years. It's working. I get it.
Yeah.
But like
fix your shit a little.
Evolve. You have to evolve a little bit with the times and like, it's only going to help. Like,
otherwise you'll become irrelevant.
Yeah. And like, you don't even need to go crazy on socials. Like, I'm just thinking like, if you're a pizza
just update
place,
it. Just update the damn thing.
Like just put up a video every once in a while or a picture of like, it could be a different style pizza every day. Just a picture.
Yeah.
Your iPhone takes good pictures. Throw it up.
Yeah,
and like people are like, damn, that looks
small.
good. I'm ordering that.
Yeah,
tonight.
that's it. That's all it takes. That's all it takes.
And it's like simple stuff. Like, but for the most part, like the businesses around here and the people who are running them are literally like the best for the most part. Because you don't make it around here. Because like we said earlier, like we're small enough around here. Like if your reputation goes, even if like your food is good or whatever you're pushing is good,
yeah, you're kind of in trouble.
Like,
yeah.
He's like, yeah, but like, do I really want to support somebody like that? Like that, it could be a benefit or a con of in a operating in a small town. But like in a city, you might be able to get away with that because people don't know the business owner. But like in a smaller area like this,
people want to know.
People want to know.
People want to know.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I mean? Like, and now, like, even me, like, again, same thing back to, not to, trying to give all my sponsors plugs. So I'm not even going to plug any of the rest of them. You guys probably already saw the ads. Hopefully you're going to buy everything from them. But like, it's like I only want to do business now. Like, I don't want to be the guy that's like, oh, I'm only going to do business with you if you do business with me. No. But at the same time, it's like, to me, like I really reevaluate, I'll say like my life and all the people around me. And it's like, again, I'm investing my time and my money into people that want to invest their time and money into me.
Yeah.
That's it.
100%.
Like it's not like, it's not like we have to do like, oh my God, like I'm not buying your shit unless you buy mine. Not at all. But at the same time, like the people that like don't support you, goodbye.
All right.
Goodbye. Stop wasting my time.
Yeah.
You know, like you just have to like just chop those people out.
Yeah,
Because
100%. Like stay cordial, stay cool,
yeah,
but
yeah, you don't have to be a dick about it. Like I may have just sounded like a dick, and I'm like over here like but
well, no, sometimes you do have to cut ties too, because they'll drag you behind and they'll make you second guess some of the decisions you're making. So I don't think there's anything wrong with cutting ties either, or putting up a wall. Yeah, it just depends on the situation.
Yeah. And I think like in tough times, and I've had some tough times like in the last, several months of my life, personally, family and stuff like that. And it's like I really truly found out like who really mattered. Mm-hmm. I found out like literally every single person in my life, like within a couple days time, I found out exactly where I stand.
Find out when shit hits the fan.
Oh man.
Yep.
And I never really, I guess, had a moment like that. And I don't ever wish that anybody ever has to have a moment like that. But like, unfortunately, in times like that is when you realize who really matters, who really cares. And man, not many people care.
No.
And it's like,
because they're busy.
They're busy.
Yeah.
Too busy to send a text.
Yeah.
Like you can't even send a text. Like, listen, like, like just send the goddamn.
Especially like you said earlier, like when you feel like you've been reliable to them.
Yeah, always, man.
That's what's disappointing.
Yeah.
It's like just reciprocate it.
Dude, I just had another podcast host, Johnny Popko, the Popko Project music podcast. Check him out. Subscribe. Listen to his show. Great guy. Love him. Him and I literally were just talking about this the other day. It's the same thing. Like he like was like checking up on me, just being like a good friend, And I just called him. Like I didn't respond to his text like right away, but then like I called him next day. I was like, hey man, like I forgot to respond to your text, and like I meant to. Like I feel bad I didn't. So like I'm actually want to call you and tell you because you asked me.
Yeah. So
I was like, I'm calling you to tell you instead of just sending you like I'm good text back.
Right.
Called him, right, and then we went down that rabbit hole saying that same thing. Where him and I feel like you're exactly what you just said is what I'm gonna say. He's like, yeah man, like in times like where I thought people were gonna be there for me and they weren't, and he's like, and I feel like like almost like as if these people like owed you, but not, right? Like it's just like, him and I both said like I put so much into other people, but then like never get anything back, and like I didn't realize like what I was not getting back until these moments,
right? Because you weren't looking for anything back, you were just hoping they would be there when you needed them.
You're right, 100%. Like I'm the type of person like give without the expectation of getting anything in return.
Yeah.
Like I live by that day in day out, personally, professionally, all of it. And like him and I like just said like, and I realized like everybody's different. Everybody's different. Everybody communicates different. Most people say like you have to just accept that, and like, nah, I'm not accepting it because like it's not. Yeah, it's not that hard.
Yeah, like
it's literally not that hard. Like I've been there for so many goddamn people in my life. I've done so much, and it's like and again, I'm not like I'm still a little bit bitter maybe. But like, dude, a few months ago, like I was like so bitter and so pissed off at like people in the world and like shit like that.
Yeah.
And it's not good, right? Like maybe I got myself in a little bit of a rut too, right? Mm-hmm. But it's because now was the time. Like again, wasn't expecting it, but almost. It's like, yo, man, like where were all these people when I was there for them? And it's like, there was crickets. It was crickets.
I think it's fine to have expectations of certain people in your life. Like you're saying, like. I think you're hesitant to say like you were expecting it. I think it's fine. Like sometimes you do expect certain things from certain people.
Yeah.
And when it doesn't happen, it blows,
I think because like I've given so much.
Right.
Like and because I've done so much, and I feel like I've given so much more than like the average person. I feel like I'm that in tune. I feel like with a lot of things and a lot of people. That like I expect other people to do as much as me. And it's kind of the same concept we were saying earlier. Like no one's going to care as much about your product or your company, your baby as much as you care about it, right? So they're not going to put in the same amount of effort. So like it's kind of that same topic where like I'm the type of person like I'll fucking dude, if you like you needed me like right now to do something like I'd probably help you. I'd be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like I barely know you, and I'm like yeah, I'll, like if you reach out to me, like I'll help you with whatever, like literally anything.
Of course, yeah.
Like unless you're chopping up a body. And I was like, man, Cory, I don't know you that well.
Yeah.
Maybe
One
maybe
more
next
podcast.
Week. Yeah, maybe next week. But like, but at the same time, it's just like I guess because I'm willing to do so much that. I guess I sort of also expect people to give as much too. And again, not everybody's like that, but
Yeah. And I think everybody's different, and you factor that into obviously personalities are different, but it's like at least show up in your certain way, like whatever it is. Like I don't, you know, like I don't need a hug from certain people. I don't need this or I don't need that.
But just show up,
like,
show up somehow.
Just show up, like just be like, hey, you want to go grab a beer? Or
some
whatever.
people just didn't even show up.
Yeah,
you know, it's like I'm still, you know, it's like I'm still waiting for people to show up.
Yeah, especially like when they're aware of, you know, and sometimes it's like a lack of not self-awareness, just I guess awareness, but like to not even realize like you're in a rut. Like if one of your boys like knows you're normally operating at like an 8 and it's like, oh damn, like Bill seems different the past couple of weeks. Like I wonder what's up. Just say what's up. Yeah. And like to not even get that sometimes is even like disheartening, just because it's like we know each other, man. Like you kind of should at least realize something's up right now. Yeah. So I don't know. Some people they're just like caught up in their own shit, and you don't notice sometimes. But.
Yeah, and like I, you know, because of all this, like I also like now have like almost like a whole, not it's like a completely different perspective, but like kind of sort of like I'm more in tune now too to like that shit.
Yeah,
I'm more now in tune to like that. It's
like this is like literally like nobody's gonna come save you. Like that mentality to an extent.
Yeah,
like obviously you still need your people and whatever, but a little. Yeah, I know. It kind of makes you build some walls, like you said. Like whether it's cutting and building, whatever. It makes you a little colder at times, but
it does. Yeah, I became like a savage. That's the word I use. I like sort of became like the savage. I feel like that I was
fuel for the fire instead of just sulking, I guess.
Yeah, and I think maybe like I was always maybe just like too nice to like sort of like everybody kind of sort of thing, and just always like I'm always a type of person like people please. Like I was just
keep the peace.
But at the same time, like now like I don't give a shit.
Yeah,
like I don't give a shit.
Right.
Like I just don't care. I just because like you said, like it was almost like I had like these experiences like almost made me like cold or hard, like you said.
Yeah.
But like it like needed to happen.
Yeah.
Because like I needed like that shift in my life to just tell people fuck off now.
Yeah.
And that's it.
You reveal your true colors and kindly fuck off.
Yeah, there you go. Kindly fuck off. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, we're gonna clip that. Yeah.
I think I saw that on a hat the other day.
You should make it. I'll buy it.
I'm like, no, I can't steal it. But I'm like, oh, that's a good hat.
All right, we'll come up with some other something.
Yeah, something
if not, then I will. And nobody will buy it but me. I'll just walk around. Yeah,
just get like a little middle finger on the back so when you're walking away.
I like that. Like a little it's like people don't realize. I'm like, wait a second. What is that?
That actually did say kindly fuck off.
Yeah, right. Yeah. It's like they realize like 30 seconds later. It's like, damn, you got me.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I think it also just builds resilience. I think was the other, like, as you were saying, like, when you went through that and you put up some walls or, told people to fuck off. But it's like, it also, I feel like it also built this like resilience in me, too. And I think like it would do that for anybody.
Yeah. That's something interesting I think about quite a bit. Like why do you or I or anybody for that matter think the way we think? Like, do you ever just think, like,
we're going deep here.
Yeah. I love that.
Oh, me too.
Like, what made me want to start this business? Like, why wasn't I content just working a job or whatever? And all that stuff, like whether it's egotistical, whether it's whatever, it could have been something that happened in middle school or your parents or this or that. I like diving into that stuff and thinking about why some people are operating on the wavelength they are. Sometimes they don't know, sometimes I don't know, and that's just what it is. But it's
sometimes you don't even realize it about yourself though until like years later.
Yeah. Like
it's
that motivated me to do that.
Yeah. Like I'll kind of give you like one like little quick example, like with me, like personally too, like when I told you like when I started this, like I had no intention. I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't sure where it was going, but I was like, this could be kind of cool. Maybe it'd be something. I already have this brand on the stacks. I mean, I'm carrying it over into what is now becoming a podcast. And this was, 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was like, for me, like how you said, like maybe something from your childhood, whatever. And I've said this before on the show. So sorry, everybody who's heard this before, but you haven't heard this. So, or, people that are going to listen, they're going to tune in for the first time are going to hear this for the first time too. But like, I was always like the kid in school growing up that like I was friends with everybody, but friends with nobody. Mm-hmm. And like, but I had like a few close friends, but like that was kind of it. Like I wasn't like one of like the cool kids. I wasn't, I was athletic, but like I didn't play football. Nothing against football players, but like, like I wasn't like in the cool kid
right
crowd.
Just buddies with everybody, but not boys with them.
Right. And it was like, but it was also like, there was like that, just if you weren't in with the cool kids, you couldn't sit at the cool table.
Yeah.
And it's like now, like
you got your own table.
took the words right out of my mouth, man. It's like, that's it. I fucking built my own.
Yeah.
I built my own. I built my own cool kids table is what I said.
Dude, but perfect example
That's it.
of like wanting to feel a part of a tribe.
Yeah.
You didn't feel
So
it as a kid, so
I
you built it yourself.
I built it.
It's as simple
I
as
built
that.
it. That's it. I built it, and I'm
like,
attracting
right.
people like you.
Right. And like not everybody has to build it, but you do need to find it at some capacity.
Yeah, right. Whether you build it yourself or go find it somewhere else.
Right.
Me,
it could be a bowling league. It could be literally anything. But like I think and like people could go to like dark places without having that sense of tribe or community.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, and then you're like you're really lost. Like you're really in a dark place.
Yeah.
And I think at the punchline, actually, I forgot part of the punchline to that whole thing was when I started this thing, I didn't realize that that's why that's part of the reason, maybe not all, but me building my own cool kids table to surround myself but also like bring in the outcasts and bring in the lesser knowns and shine the light on the people that are lesser known or don't get the spotlight. Like I fucking love that. Like I'm bringing in people that I want to give a spotlight to because I wasn't given a spotlight
100%.
or paid attention to.
Yeah,
right?
like
So like
subconsciously you were longing for something,
and I didn't really know.
Built it, and now like you could use it for a greater force, and like
right, something bigger than myself.
Right, it's not exclusive, but like you're getting cool people on that aren't necessarily categorized as cool.
Yeah,
and you're giving them a voice and exposing them to people that otherwise they might not be exposed to.
I'm like obsessed about that part of it.
It's awesome.
It's like,
the coolest part.
Yeah. Like I'm just like, again, like it all kind of goes back to like the branding and stuff, but it's just like in the perception and like what, like I'm like a PR guy. I did go to school for PR, but like I'm just like a PR guy, and like I know it's fucking cool. I know it looks cool. I know it works. I know how to make things work. I know how to make things look cool, and it's just like it's so like fascinating to me, like the process of all this,
right?
And like putting all this together.
Yeah, like those are the steps, and like that's the work and the interesting shit up front. And then when you get to the point, and like both you and I, like we're not like these like massive operations. We're just like good, humble businesses. But like we're at the point where we do have a community now. And then it's like you take a step back, it's 5 years, 6 years later, and it's like that's the best part. Like what you thought was like coming up with cool sweatshirts or hats or like having one great podcast guest on, and like that was the best podcast ever. Like it was so cool. I got to meet this person. But it's like, yeah, that those things are cool in the moment. They fire you up and they fuel the fire going forward. And then when you have like just a little bit of perspective, it's like, oh, none of that shit really matters. It's necessary, but like the cool part is the community that you build.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And it's like, and then the other thing now too, it's like, like back when I first started this, and even maybe up until like a year and a half ago, like people didn't want to acknowledge what I was doing.
Really?
Like people, like a lot of people that like, I'll say like the cool kids, even in the community here, like everybody like just kind of, I feel like sort of shunned me. Now, not everybody, right? But a lot of people. And
because it's not legit yet.
Yeah. But also this is what somebody, and I didn't realize this until this one person said it to me. And she was like, this is how she put it. She goes, they're not paying attention to you because everybody's paying attention to you. And I'm like, whoa.
That's sweet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't look at it
profound.
that way. Yeah, I'm like, I didn't think about that because like I'm in it, right? Sometimes, I'm sure you feel it sometimes too. Like it's your business, like you're part of the brand, you built it, like you're like stuck in it. And sometimes it's so hard to remove yourself and like look at it from the outside, or the outside's perspective.
Yeah.
And for me, for like the longest time, like again, like I just feel like people just kept looking past me. And I feel even today, even still, like people still look past me, and man, like that just fucking fires me up. I get so fired up about it, like and now like a lot of those people that look past me, guess what? They're now calling me.
Yeah.
It's like, yo,
it's awesome, man.
Yo, like remember when we talked about this thing or whatever? Like you're going like, or you didn't want to talk to me because like it wasn't cool enough, or I wasn't cool enough, or wasn't big enough.
Right.
And now you're calling me.
Yeah.
Wait.
That's not how this works.
Wait. You're calling me now, right? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Dude,
cool.
I think anybody that achieves any level of outside success has got some level of chip on their shoulder from something.
Oh, yeah.
Whether
always.
they know it or not. I mean, you look at all the greats. I mean, whether it's Michael, Kobe, whatever, Mark Cuban, it could be any facet of the world. It's so evident that they have a chip on their shoulder from something. Somebody burned them somewhere, and they just never got rid of it, and it just fueled the fire.
Yeah, it's so true. It's 100%, and that's exactly. And some of the highest performers in the world. 2 examples: Elon Musk and Steve Jobs. Again, two brilliant minds, high performers, literally changed the world. Like, literally changed the world.
Actually changed the world.
Like more than you can even comprehend.
Yeah.
Right. So if you haven't listened to or watched Diary of a CEO, it's a podcast.
Big fan.
Okay.
Stephen
Fucking
Bartlett.
love it. Stephen Bartlett is the fucking man.
Yep.
Okay. I hope one day I can be as cool as him.
You need a British accent.
Yeah, I know
That
that's,
helps for podcasting. I feel like they're just like easier.
Yeah,
to
at first I
listen to.
didn't like that. I didn't like it at first. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I can listen to this. But then I was like, dude, I fucking love this guy.
Yeah.
I love him. But anyway, so there was, again, this is going to be a little bit dated by the time this comes out, but one of his most recent episodes, and I forget the author's name, but he's the author that wrote the biography on Steve Jobs and Elon Musk. Again, don't remember the guy's name, but real fascinating guy. I'm mostly through the episode. I didn't finish the whole thing completely, but like literally it's just Steven talking to this author who wrote these biographies on these two brilliant minds. You know, one obviously is passed and one's still living. But the point of me telling this story, and if you guys go listen to it, you'll know exactly what we were just talking about, is that the author pinpoints how these two guys both had a either terrible upbringing, childhood, or whatever it was, and that fueled them to do what they did.
Right.
And like look what they did. I mean, I don't even have to say anything. Like I don't even need to tell you. It doesn't matter who you are. I feel like everybody in the world, no matter even if you live under a rock, you know Steve Jobs and you know Elon Musk and you know what they did. But like, man, when you hear their stories of the shit that they've been through, like when they were kids and all that stuff like that, dude, it's fascinating.
And you don't wish that upon any kid,
right?
But it does sometimes create some diamonds out of it.
It does, and it builds some of the highest performers.
Yep,
it really does.
And it is like the age old adage of like just like when people grow up poor, become rich, and then like you want to give your kids everything, but like it's not good for them. Like they need to, they might not have to struggle the same way you did, but like there needs to be some level of struggle. Or else, like, you're going to end up like Macaulay Culkin or whoever. Like,
fucked up.
It's just like not realistic. Like, people need to experience some level of discomfort, and it literally creates legends.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Most times, I don't feel like there's like, again.
Well, that's the only shitty thing. Like, you don't hear about all the stories of people that fell by the wayside because their parents were shitheads.
Right.
You only hear the success stories.
Yeah.
So it is hard.
Yeah.
That's where it's like, well, that's why nobody wishes it upon anybody, but it's like, is it a necessary struggle?
I feel like it is.
To an
I feel
extent.
like it is. I mean, like, I feel like there's probably not many people out there that are massively successful that didn't go through hell. There's not.
No.
Like, and if there is, their story, their truth probably just doesn't exist yet. It hasn't been told yet.
Right.
There's still a lot. I'm sure there's probably stuff with you that like you might not be ready to say. There's plenty of stuff about me that I'm not ready to say, and I'll even say that right now.
Right.
It's like, at some point I'll talk about more things. I'm sure at some point in your life you'll talk about more things, and then people will be like, "Wow, holy shit, man, that guy like I can't believe he went through that." Like, man, and now look how like successful he is, and like all that. Like it builds that, and same thing again. Like I said before, it builds that resilience too.
Yeah,
I think.
I agree. I think you hit the nail on the head there. I was like thinking about myself there as you're talking, and I'm like, I don't know, man. Like my childhood was pretty good. Like my parents were great and everything. Like I realize how fortunate I am to have all that, and it's fairly rare. But I'm like wondering. I'm like, well, what is driving me? I'm like, the story I've told myself from the beginning is like, I just want to create a business around the life I want to live. And that was like my driving force. I'm like, I don't want to just lead a normal life. I think life is kind of ripe for the taking, and there's a lot you could do with the life. There's a lot of different ways you could go about living your life. And I think you have to create it for yourself, though, or otherwise you are just going to be like everybody else.
And a pawn, you'll end up as a pawn.
Yeah.
And unhappy,
Sheep.
man.
Yeah.
Unhappy.
Yeah.
So many people like, that's one thing, man. It's like, I talk to some people, even people that are, I'm 34, like, and it's just like, I even talk to people that are like, not even like 40 yet. And they're like, oh, I can't change this. I can't do that. And I'm like, what?
You got plenty of time, man.
What?
Like
Start over.
You're going to be working your desk job for another 25 years. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And then in 25, 30 years from now, they're gonna say, "Shit, Bill was right.
Should have done that.
Now,
Should have done that.
Yeah. I should have done it. I should have taken the risk. I should have started over."
That's like one of my biggest fears in life. I'm like, I just don't want to be on my deathbed and be like, damn, I wish I just went for it. Because, like, I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree, man. Regret is the ultimate. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like my only level of regret I'm worried about, because I think like you have control, a good amount of control over the rest, would be like from a career perspective. I think that for me, I'm only speaking for me. I think that's where my deathbed regret might be, where it's like, I should have just went for it. That's why I started this. I'm like, I got to try it, see what happens, see what it becomes. It could become a completely different entity 5 years from now. I have no idea, but we'll see.
Yeah. It's crazy how just like in a few years' time, something could progress.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like that's like, you know, people just are afraid to, I say, either take the risk or start over. And man, like I said, like, geez, like even if you're 40 years old, like you can literally just go broke and start over.
Yeah.
You can just go broke and start over.
You just got to bet on yourself.
Yeah.
And like, if you don't have a backup plan, most people will make it work, I think. But again, it's just getting to that action point. Like you could think about it and mill around on it as much as you want.
Like I said, don't think about it.
Until you just
don't.
Go.
You just gotta just pull the plug, man.
Just go.
Just jump into the cold water.
Yeah.
You know, just do it. Don't, you know, of course, yeah. You know, if you're, uprooting your life and family, obviously people, have responsibilities, etc.
Yeah.
But you can't, I feel like also too, you can't dwell on it for so long. Just be like, keep pondering and pondering and pondering.
Before you know, 5 years goes by and you miss your window.
Yeah. Or you just keep talking yourself out of it. That's
right.
that's like my biggest thing. And it's like, and fuck the backup plan.
Yep.
Like,
burn the boats.
Yeah. Like, fuck the backup plan.
Yeah.
Like, don't even think about it, because if you think about it, then you've already talked yourself out of plan A.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no,
yeah.
It's just plan A.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's just plan A.
And you just evolve as it goes. If it doesn't work for the first few months, stay at it and then pivot.
That's it.
Yeah. It's
no plan Bs.
No plan Bs.
Nope.
I like it. I like where your head's at.
Maybe A.5 or something, like if you need to.
A little contingency maybe on the side, or just like.
But that's it. But you just figure it out.
Make sure you're investing or something over here.
Yeah. Do it a little smart. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
you could do it intelligently.
You can do it intelligently.
Flying completely blindly is.
Right. I'm not saying just, fucking quit your job tomorrow and just, oh shit, I have nothing saved up. I'm not saying do that. Be a little smart about it.
Know yourself, know what you're good at, and build something around that. I would say.
Chips all in.
Yeah. Just push
when the time's right.
Yeah.
But I think, again, like, just a lot of people just, and like I always say too, like if you're good at something, but like maybe you're not the entrepreneurial person, maybe you're not the salesperson of the thing that you want to do, and it's like, but you know what? There's somebody else out there that can be. Find a business partner.
Right. Be the back end guy.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. You don't have to be front and center.
Yeah. If you're not, as cool as we are here, looking really good with
cool.
our beards and stuff on podcasts, and you know what I mean? Like, not everybody can be as cool as us, and you know what I mean? But like, guy, everybody's like, these guys are really full of themselves. But no, seriously, just find somebody that does that part. Like, that's how business works.
Yeah.
You fill the void with the things that you're not good at. There's nothing wrong. Like, I suck, as I said, at bookkeeping. I mean, could I do it and figure it out? Yeah. But it takes me way too long. I hate math.
Right.
I know how it all works. I know when I'm making money, I know how to make money. And I know all that. But I hate doing it. I hate thinking about it. A lot of times it's just like scrambled in my head, you know?
Yeah.
But like, I'll just find somebody else that likes to do that, and they do that, and everybody's happy. And that's it. It's like same thing, kind of like, again, if somebody's like want to start a business or whatever, and if you feel like you're missing half of it, like me, I feel like I could do a lot of it, but I know in reality for growth, like I can't always do all of it.
Right.
And that's just, you can't. No one can. It doesn't matter. I don't care who you are. You're going to have to build a team around you. And if you're not building a team around you with people that are better than you, you're going backwards.
Right.
Like, you're literally going backwards. And if like,
shouldn't be the smartest one in the room all the time.
No. It's like now, like I don't want people around me, like, unless like I'm like really learning from them, or it's like a conversation like this where like we're really like having like a meaningful conversation. Otherwise, it's like, what the fuck's the point?
Yeah.
Like, you're wasting my time.
Right. And like
You know?
you said earlier, like the quicker you could bring somebody in who you could partner with and trust, you're just ramping up that curve. Like
Yeah.
you're turning 5 years into 3 years or whatever it
Yeah.
is. It's hard to do sometimes, and financially it might be a risk, or you might have to give up more, whatever it looks like. But eventually it should pay itself off and twofold or more.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. I know I just said this the other day, but like, in my opinion, it's a bigger risk not to try.
Yeah.
It's a bigger risk not to do it.
Yep.
It literally is.
Yeah.
It's like, cause when you look back, you're going to regret it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Like it's that's the biggest thing, man. Like same thing, like you said, like the biggest fear, like big fear is like regret.
Yeah.
And like not doing the thing or building the life that you want. I feel like a lot of people don't realize that they could, like you can literally like do anything you want now.
You legitimately could manifest like the life that you want. Like if you like, man, dude, I follow these two people on YouTube. It's like I just want to like watch something like stupid, mindless, whatever. There's like Cody and Victoria. All they do, like they love hiking, camping, rock climbing. So he just got really good at videography, and she helps out, and they just not vlog. It's like very cinematic and like well done. But like they just videotape themselves doing what they love, and now they have a YouTube channel with like a mild amount of subscribers, like nothing crazy. They're not ultra famous. They're not Jake Paul or whoever the hell. But like, guess what? They're living the life they want to live. They travel around in the van. They have their dog, and they get to go climb in Yosemite whenever they want, and they just have to make a video about it. And like,
That's
you
cool.
could do it like literally anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just got to go for it.
Yeah. It's like, dude, like literally people laughed at me. People probably still laugh at me. Maybe not as much now because like they see how like serious and how much this has grown and like what it's doing and what I've built.
Mm-hmm.
But like, dude, like people like would laugh at me, like, oh, you're whoring yourself out. Or what do you think you're this influencer? And it's like, I was like, I don't fucking care. Like somebody's going to pay me $1,000 for that.
Yeah.
First of all, like I like it. You know what I mean? It's
Dude,
like,
it's man
I
in
don't
the-
give a shit what you think.
It's man in the arena.
Yeah.
No, nobody on the outskirts is chirping like that.
Yeah.
Or no, it's only people on the outskirts chirping like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Because they're doing nothing. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that. It's
They
easy.
are.
It's easy to chirp from the nosebleeds.
Spectator.
Yeah.
They're just a spectator.
Yeah.
You know, we're on the field playing the game.
Yep. What's the quote? It's like basically like nobody doing better than me has ever talked shit about me or whatever.
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
Like that's a shitty version of it.
Right.
but-
Yeah. No, you're right. But the only people that are making fun of you or laughing at you or shitting on you are people that aren't doing anything, and it's just their own insecurities that they're projecting on you because they're either jealous or they can't do it, or they feel like they can't do it, or whatever it is. I mean,
You're
it's just-
leading the
that's it.
life they never had the balls to take a risk on and do it for themselves.
And they're like, "Fuck, man, that guy's fucking doing it," so I'm gonna shit on him.
Yeah.
Because I'm too much of a pussy.
Yeah.
I said it. There was it. I said it to
It is what it
that's
is.
That's it.
Sometimes that's the only word that works.
I felt like that was the word that was coming out. And I was like,
But
what?
if you're that sensitive that hurts your feelings that much,
Then this
I'm
isn't
sorry.
the show for you.
Yeah.
Then this
I mean, it's not that big
you
of a
can
deal.
you can unsubscribe it out. I don't need
Yeah.
you. You're not my people.
Yeah.
This is my savage that has came out
Yeah,
recently.
Yeah, you did say you turned a little savage.
I did. And you know what the other thing is that's great too about like again just back to and I'll stop like bragging about all my sponsors too like they believe in me and trust in me and like they know like that this is the content on here.
Social
sometimes.
proof.
It's like these people like you would think sometimes like oh like they're not going to sponsor the show because you said pussy. Well, guess what? If you don't want to sponsor the show anymore, then don't.
All right.
Like
That's what podcasts are.
yeah. Like
You're
this,
supposed to be. This isn't mainstream media. You're supposed.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be able to say whatever you want.
yeah, exactly.
It's real people having real conversations.
That's it. Real talk on purpose. That's my
Yeah,
that was my
that's your-
2024
that's your
or
thing.
2023 theme. But yeah, man, like I said, like it's just like I have these like sponsors, and sometimes I'm like, oh man, like sometimes some things could be questionable. Some
Yeah.
content could be questionable, like from my standpoint, and sometimes maybe some things that guests have said or whatever. And it's just like, but you know what?
That's poker, baby.
It's like, it's showbiz.
Yeah.
No, but like that's like I think what's like so cool about it, though too.
Yeah.
It's like all this was built on the backs of just this is it, and it's just
Right.
like it's evolved so much. And my show, like sometimes some people might look at it and be like, wow, that's so unprofessional. And then the next day, like some people are like, wow, it's very professional, like, you know, conversation wise or whatever, or like really, business.
Stay dynamic.
But it's like, man, like I want the gangbanger on here, you know, but then I have a prosecutor on,
Right.
I'll have a doctor on.
It's interesting.
Like,
Keeps it fresh.
yeah, unpredictable.
Yeah, 100%.
I like that.
Dude, I got to ask you, now that you're talking about like all different types of guests, like I feel like we kind of briefly chatted about some of like, what else are you into? Now I'm interviewing you.
Yeah.
Or are you just all in on the business right now that you don't have time for other hobbies?
I really don't have a lot other time
Yeah.
right now, to be honest.
Which I completely understand.
Yeah, I think maybe in like 6 to 8 months from now, I'll have more time.
Yeah.
And I'm not really sure what I'm gonna do. I mean, like, what I'll say, like, what I also do like doing, but it also kind of still ties in with this is writing. Mm-hmm. I just like to write.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, like I might just, you know, again, like I enjoy any type of like writing, but I also maybe write some poems, but like nothing crazy, nothing I'm ever gonna publish. But it's just like I just like to do that in my free time.
Yeah,
Like
just
if
a
I just
creative release.
just a creative. I just like get in a mood, whether it's like, you know, it could be like I'm in a bad place and like I wrote something about it, or just, you know, or just creative, like whatever it is, like something I was inspired by. You know, like my friend Jimmy, he wrote a short little poem one time and put it on Instagram, and then it inspired me to write one that piggybacked off of his.
Oh, that's cool.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was just like, you know, it's just like stuff like that like I just enjoy. Sometimes I'll just sit there and just do that for a couple hours, or
Yeah.
you know,
I think sometimes like you get that spark and it's just like you just got to go with it. You just have to either get it out of your system or whatever it is. Like sometimes like when you have a somewhat creative mind, whatever, you just kind of it's just got to get released at one way or another.
And I've never been like, you know, obviously you're a big outdoors guy. I've never like been like a huge like outdoors guy, but obviously like now, like with the sweat tent, for example, like I've become like, you know, now I mean it's outside literally. So like,
Yeah.
you know, like I don't hunt. I fish a little, like used to fish like a little bit more. Like I don't love it, but it's like, all right, you know,
something to do here and there.
But otherwise, like, I don't know, man. Like I feel like I've kind of like reinvented myself, like, you know, over the last few years. Which I mean, it's very apparent to people that have known me for a few years, like that I've like reinvented myself in a sense. But yeah, hobby wise, like I don't have like, you know, like a whole lot. But I will say I'm also the type of person that like if I pick up a new hobby, like I'm gonna fucking master it and like
Go all in.
That's it.
Hey,
I don't have.
that.
Yeah, I'm an all or nothing guy. I don't know if you probably got that by now.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like I got to be careful what I put my time and focus into, because I become obsessed with being either the best at it or just making it like just better and better.
All time consuming, yeah.
It's just I'm always like I just have like a never satisfied attitude. So like,
Yeah.
you know, like if I'll give you an example. Like I used to skateboard, like when I was like a kid. Dude, if I could still skateboard right now, if you put one in front of me,
Yeah. Still
like,
got it.
a little bit, just like like an ollie here or there, you know.
It's like riding a bike.
Yeah, exactly, same thing. But like, you know, if I like truly like was like, you know what, I'm gonna pick up skateboarding again. Like I'll just fucking skateboard all the time, because I'm just gonna like that'll be like my new like crazy obsession, right?
And it'll take away from all this.
Yeah. So I gotta be careful, like what what kind of things I'm getting into, because I'm just like. But then I'll probably just turn it into a business too. Like
I know. I struggle with that too. I'm like, I like got into photography quite a bit, and then it's like very quickly like I'm taking on side jobs, like doing weddings or this or that or the other thing. And it's like why couldn't I just like keep this as like
I know that's
I'm going
that's
on
my
a
problem.
hike, I take my camera and I take some pictures of some nice landscapes. Like why couldn't I just keep it at that?
Just
But I'm just like, oh no, like
you have to take it to the next level.
yeah.
That's the other thing with me too. Like I'm interested in a lot of things, but don't love. I can't, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
like I can't tell you like, you know, like I'm like the biggest, like I'm like, you know, big hunter, and like I'm like, okay, you know what? I hunt, then like that's my thing.
Right.
You know, like I don't really have like a thing like that. I don't think.
Yeah.
But I have
Dude, it's better.
interest in a lot.
I
of
think
things.
it's, well, I wouldn't say better, but I think like both has its benefits. Like it's so good to be just pinpointed focus on this thing. And then it's also like, well, sometimes like it's good to be like a jack of all trades, master of none. It just depends. It just depends. Like everybody's different.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know. Sometimes I wish I was less interested in some things. Like I just like dabble with everything, and like
same.
I'll go deep in certain things, and then just like I want to have like a surface level understanding of like a bunch of things, just so I could like talk to them and be like peripherally interested in them. But like, then I'm like, oh, dude, like in the past month and a half, like the amount of times I went bow hunting, that like I probably should have been doing something with the business. Like you make me, it like makes me start to second guess like what I'm like,
shit, I'm hunting
I
too
need
much.
to chill a little bit here, but I get like obsessed. Like you
Yeah.
see one good deer and it's like,
oh
fuck, there goes my next 3 weeks. Like I'm going to be in the woods every chance I get.
yeah. Until I get them. And then it's like, then you got them. And it's like, oh, there's another one.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. Like you just, same thing. Like just the mind just like keeps going.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You just get pulled in a million different directions, and trying to balance everything is tough at times, but I mean, I don't even have kids or anything yet, so I can't imagine juggling all that.
And
so
that's the other
maybe
thing
that
too,
maybe that like provides some rigidity though too. It's like you don't have as much wiggle room to go fuck off.
Yeah, so you do. You have to be a little more scheduled. You have to be a
can't
little
go
more.
hunting.
Yeah, you won't be able to hunt as much.
take
I'll
care
tell
of
you
a
that.
kid.
Yeah, right. Yeah, if you have kids, you're not gonna be able to hunt as
To
much.
keep a kid alive.
Yeah. Yes. But like that's the other thing with me too. It's like, you know, again, obviously, you know, everyone can say like, oh, well, you could just make time for a hobby. And it's like you're right. I could. I know I could if I want to. Right. I just choose not to sometimes.
Not yet.
Right. Not yet. You know, I'm really all in on like myself right now, and I think the point of me saying this is like to give myself, kind of like what you were saying before about the life you want, to give myself and my family and my kids the life that I want us to have. I need to focus on me right now.
Yeah.
And if that means me sacrificing everything around me, like so, you know, a lot of relationships, maybe not doing some hobbies, not doing as much for myself, even though I should, like I'm doing it now because I'm putting in the work now to build something that's going to be, you know, tenfold greater in a few years and then some.
Right.
And like, I also just like, again, I know it's not a hobby, but like I take great pride in being like a great dad. You know what I mean? Like just, and you know, and always just trying to be a great husband. And like, you know, like I really care about, you know, like family time and family stuff. Like that means more to me than just doing like a hobby.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, and it's, you know, some people are always say like, oh my God, like kids will change your life. And it's like, it's so true.
Yeah.
And when people would say that to me beforehand, like before I had kids, like, not that I didn't believe it, I did, but it literally
Until you feel it.
Yeah. It's like when that happens, you're like, wow, this is
Game changer.
Yeah. It's like, my life. I'll say everybody, the thing that I didn't like about like when somebody like, oh, like you're going to have kids, like your life's over. And I hate that attitude.
I hate that too.
I hate that attitude.
I feel like it's almost like just a thing to say where like parents like bitch.
Yeah, it's like small. It's like small talk.
Yeah, it's like, oh man, like
yeah.
Like,
but it's also, I think those people like maybe don't maybe they're not happy with their family situation per se, and like maybe, you know what I mean, maybe they're struggling with something, and then that's just them projecting their shitty family situation. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
But also like, what I want to say is like when people say like, oh, like your life's over, I'm like, no, man, my life just began.
Yeah.
Like it just started.
Glass half full.
Yeah.
A little more work, but a lot of gratification.
Lot more
coming
work.
out.
Lot more work. But a lot more gratification though too.
Yeah.
You know,
a different level that like you said, like didn't feel before that.
Different level.
Yeah.
It's
that's
like,
cool.
Yeah, man. Like just like, you know, my son's 2.5 years old. You know, by the time this episode comes out, our second will be almost born. And it's like, man, like the last 2.5 years, like, dude, life is like, it's, you know, obviously it's had some ups and downs, whatever, but like more ups than downs. And it's just like, it is like so much better and different. And yeah, it's hard. It's hard as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm not going to lie. Like harder than like running a business.
Oh, I believe it. I've like,
I could run, but you know, not that I can't be a parent, but like I could running a business, and this is easy.
How I rationalize this in my head, and this is going to come across like I'm a dickhead, but there's only one way to say it. Everybody who's ever been alive has been raised by somebody. And there's a lot of dumb people out there. So if they could do it, I think I could do it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying it's not going to be hard.
Yeah, it's like if those people made it.
That's what I tell myself. I'm like, there's a lot of people in way worse situations who made it through.
100%.
I should be okay.
Yeah, you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. It's with anything in life, man. You just have to have the figured out mentality.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like
Roll
that's
with
it.
the punches.
That's it.
Yeah.
Just figure it the hell out.
That's cool though, man. I think it's cool to have, cause like, yeah, like we're both at that age where like everybody's having kids now, and like, yeah, everybody's got their gripes about it. But like as soon as you said, that's why I said it's like almost like a thing to say. It's like as soon as you get past that surface level comment with them, everyone's like, oh, it's the best, man. Like,
yeah, it is. Like, yeah. And like too, like just going back to like some of the other podcasts we were talking about and just learning, like just again, like over the last like couple years, I'll say, like maybe even a little bit more recent too. Like I've just become, like I said, I've just doubled down so much more on myself. Mm-hmm. Like with podcasts, like learning and just like, dude, like I'm like so interested in like all these things that I never thought I'd be interested in, like prior to like even up until like 6 months ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like there's just all this. Every time I meet somebody on here, it's like it's a game changer, like almost all the time. Because then like more things come into my life, more perspectives, more things. Like and I'm building more relationships. I'm branching out. I'm doing different things.
We're gonna go shoot the bow together too. So.
Are we?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do it.
I'll do it.
We'll get you.
All right.
We'll get you involved.
Okay. All right.
Even if it's just like you just shoot on the side. You don't have to go hunting. So it's just like, hey, I got 10 minutes. I'll go shoot in the backyard.
All right. I mean, I shoot guns. I got guns.
Yeah.
No rifles. I got some handguns.
Yeah. So we'll go shoot. We'll go shoot some pistols and then bring the bow. We'll get you set up.
Yeah, all right.
It'll be sweet.
Right.
Something different.
Cool. That's change of pace, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whenever you find time in between.
Like I have a arrow here, so I'm like,
oh, there you go.
It's part of the bow. You know?
Full circle back to the well, we were talking about tattoos off air.
Yeah.
But working on that sleeve, looking good.
Yeah. It's like embarrassing right now. It's like half-assed. Doesn't even make sense. I'm not even showing it to you people.
Do you know what you're getting next?
Kinda, sorta. It's still like all a work in progress. Mm-hmm. Like it's all in the Notes app. I live my life in the Notes app.
Yeah.
My entire life, my whole business and my life, everything is run out of the 2,000 notes. Not joking. In my Notes app. And if you don't run your life like that, there's something wrong with you. I'm glad you said that because, I'm glad you run your notes. Your life like that too.
And I was recently considering checking out that Notion. Everybody kind of seems to say it's like the next level of the Notes app in terms of staying organized and productive with ideas and everything like that. So I literally didn't even go on the website yet, but everybody says Notion is
Notion.
Notion. Yeah.
Write that down so I don't forget. But yeah. So as far as the tattoos, it's just like I have a lot of ideas, like, and I'm the type of person that like sometimes it comes to me like at the last second. That's kind of how everything is with like a lot of stuff. I guess it's partly like the creative side. It's like I don't know until I know, So, but I got like a million different like. I feel like everything. A lot of my tattoos, like what I like about them is like people don't know what they mean. Yeah, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know what I mean? So like
stay a little ambiguous.
Yeah, I don't want somebody to look at it and be like, oh, I know what that means.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It means something to you. That's all.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
And of course, obviously, like I could explain things, but like
if you want,
I just like the unknown about it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because it's it's just something different. It's just like you said, it means something.
Yeah, for sure.
And I don't give a shit what anybody else thinks.
Right, they're for you.
It's like that's it. Yeah, exactly. They're for me and they're not for anyone else. If you like them, cool. If you don't,
whatever.
Kindly fuck off.
Yeah, kindly fuck off.
If you don't like the show, kindly fuck off. Yeah. But yeah, man, this was a dope conversation.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I really enjoyed it myself.
Yeah, I appreciate the swag, by the way. I've got to what do we like better, gray or black? I like both. As you know, you see my brand is also gray and black. So like these like right up my alley, man.
By design.
I'm a big beanie guy.
Yeah, and 'tis the season.
Yep. So thanks for the swag.
Yeah, you bet.
But if somebody wants to purchase swag, check you guys out. Where do they need to go?
Yeah, so on Instagram, Facebook, we're Locals Only Project, and then the website is localsonlyproject.com. You can go on there. Everything's in there. And, check us out on Instagram. We try and stay pretty creative at times with the content we're putting out, not just kind of posting hats and beanies. We like to have fun and get the boys involved, get some of the girls involved. Do some fun videos when the weather's a little nicer and stuff like that. Like I said, because I really enjoy like photography and videography. So it's a good creative release and work it into the brand quite a bit. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
I love the brand, dude.
Thanks, man.
Like you got a great brand.
Thanks.
That's what I like about it. Because you know what? I'll say it. It's really hard to build something like this.
Yeah.
That actually like is nice, it's cool, it's good, it's quality, it's like something people want to be part of. Like it's not easy.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people might look at you, and I know I don't want to go down another rabbit hole with this, but I just want to tell you like it's impressive. Thanks. It's impressive, you know what I mean? Because like and you probably as do I, like I don't think about myself like that sometimes, but it's like what you built, man, like it's impressive. Like it's good shit.
Thanks, man. Well, feeling's mutual.
Yeah.
I know it's not easy to build anything from scratch. So
yeah,
it works both ways here.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, next time we'll have part 2 of us shooting some bows.
Yeah.
We'll have to, maybe we'll
mobile pod.
Yeah, we'll film it. I do want to take the show a little bit more on the road. I took it to Nashville, which is like extreme. Not extreme, but it was cool extreme.
Yeah.
But I do want to take this, like I'll say, like regionally though too. So there might be maybe that's it. You know?
Yeah, I like it.
Eric said to me the other day, he goes, we should, like, every once in a while, just to mix it up to get out of the studio, go on location to someone.
That would be sweet.
Because, like, up until this point, it's like, I fucking spent all this money in this building.
Yeah, I know.
I'm not taking this show on the road. Like, you know what I mean? So for like,
get your money's worth.
For the first year and a half, I'm like, I have a fucking mortgage. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not taking the show on the road. I'm like, every chance I get, I'm in this building, you know, soaking it up, you know?
Yeah. I know, dude. I thought about that myself. I'm like, it would be cool to do like even just a podcast like around a campfire or whatever, like, which is obviously on brand for us a little bit more. But yeah, obviously it's a little tougher. It's nice to have things set up in studio, but
but it's not that easy to do shit like, you know, like it's you could set stuff up pretty easily and on the fly. Like I did it in Nashville. Like we didn't know what we were going into like until like we were there. It was just like I brought all this shit and
figure it out.
Set it up. Yeah, just figure it out.
Yeah,
just figure it out. And the episodes came out like fucking. They look like the biggest pod. It looked like the biggest podcast in the world.
I saw
like,
some of them. They look great.
Yeah, and by the way, figured it all out on the fly.
Yeah,
like literally, like it was like not that we didn't have a plan. Yeah, but it was just like we kind of knew some of the places we were going. It was just like, okay, we showed up, look around. Okay, what can we make do with what we have here?
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah,
and it's like people think it's like rocket science, man. Right. It's just not.
No. You get a couple creative heads in there, you figure it out.
Figure it out. Yeah. Figure it out. That's it. That's it. We're ending the show here.
Cool.
Figure it out or kindly fuck off.
Full circle.
All right. Cory Panettieri on the Stacks podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/On the Stacks podcast or search the hashtag On the Stacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn.